Welcome to the best way to clean wood kitchen cabinets. I want you to imagine the single most destructive force currently threatening your kitchen right now.
Right. I mean, most people immediately picture like a massive grease fire.
Yeah, exactly. Or a burst pipe under the sink flooding everything. Or maybe, dropping a heavy cast iron skillet and just completely shattering your floor tile.
Oh, that is the worst. But yeah, the reality is usually a lot quieter than that.
It really is. The truth is, the most insidious, creeping damage happening to your most expensive kitchen investment is likely something you are doing voluntarily, like every single Sunday.
Yep, the weekend cleaning routine.
Exactly. It is the seemingly innocent act of taking a wet, soapy rag, walking right up to your beautiful wood cabinets, and just wiping them down.
Which feels productive, right? You think you are cleaning them.
Right, you feel like you're doing a good job. But on a microscopic level, you might actually be dissolving their protective barriers. You're swelling their joints and laying down this microscopic net of sticky residue.
And that residue is just going to trap even more dirt by tomorrow morning. It's a vicious cycle.
It really is a shocking realization for a lot of people.
It totally is because, well, wood is not plastic. It's not glass. It is a biological material. I mean, it used to be alive.
Yeah, it has pores.
Exactly. It has pores, it expands, it contracts, and it responds violently to excessive moisture, not to mention improper chemical agents.
Which brings us to the core of our deep dives today. We are pulling from a really comprehensive masterclass on wood restoration. And what we see from our sources today is that most of us are approaching this task with the exact wrong instincts.
We really are. We just, we spray, we scrub, and we soak.
We just attack it. And in doing so, we basically turn a light layer of household dust into a cemented permanent grime.
But the good news, and this is what I love about this source, is that reversing this damage doesn't require a chemistry degree.
Or expensive, crazy machinery.
Right. It just requires a profound shift in your technique.
So we're going to establish a foolproof, highly positive framework today. A system that just completely removes the anxiety of stripping your finish.
It takes all the guesswork right out of it. And it ensures your cabinets retain that showroom luster for decades.
Okay, let's unpack this, because to completely change our approach, we really have to isolate where the entire process goes off the rails.
And according to the masterclass, the failure happens before a single drop of water even touches the wood.
Wait, really? Before you even get the sponge wet?
Exactly. It happens in the dry phase. Or, well, more accurately, the total lack of a dry phase.
Oh, because people just skip straight to the wet part.
That is the foundational error right there. People view cleaning as an inherently wet activity.
Yeah, you grab the spray bottle instantly.
But if you skip the dry dusting phase, every single subsequent step we are going to outline is totally compromised.
Okay, so within this dry phase, the source says there is an absolute non-negotiable law. And it's dictated by basic physics.
Right, you must work with gravity, not against it.
Which means starting at the very top edge, the upper cabinets, the crown molding.
Yep, and you meticulously work your way down to the baseboards.
See, I logically know gravity pulls things down. We all learned that in kindergarten. But human psychology completely overrides it in the kitchen.
Oh, absolutely. It's totally reactionary.
Right. When I decide it's time to clean, it's usually because a specific trigger caught my eye. Like a smudge of strawberry jam from breakfast.
Just sitting right there at eye level.
Catching the sunlight. And my immediate visceral instinct is to attack that specific smudge. I don't want to go find a step stool and look at the crown molding.
You just want to fix the thing that's offending you right now.
Exactly. I want instant gratification.
That is highly relatable, but let's break down the physical consequence of actually giving into that impulse.
Okay, lay it on me.
Suppose you spend 20 minutes perfectly polishing that eye-level cabinet. You get the jam off, you restore the shine. It looks great.
I'm feeling very proud of myself in this scenario.
Right. And then, feeling motivated, you decide to tackle the dusty cabinet directly above it.
Uh-oh. I see where this is going.
As you wipe that upper cabinet, you are dislodging a whole cascade of dry particulate matter. Dust mites, textile fibers, pet dander, microscopic food particles.
And all that junk doesn't just vanish into the ether.
No, it falls directly down onto the microscopic layer of residual moisture on the cabinet you just finished cleaning.
Oh, wow. So I've essentially created an adhesive surface and then just rained dirt all over it.
Exactly. So now you have to clean the bottom cabinet twice. And worse, If any of that falling debris is abrasive, like tiny grains of salt or hard dirt, wiping it a second time risks dragging those particles across your clear coat.
Creating those awful micro scratches.
Yep. Working top to bottom is literally the only way to ensure you never touch the same surface twice.
That makes total sense when you lay it out like that. So, okay, we are up on the step stool. We are at the highest point, looking at a layer of dry dust.
Time for the right tool.
Right. And the source material advocates for a very specific tool here. The classic compact Swiffer duster.
A staple in most homes.
Yeah, and I understand the convenience. They are really lightweight, and you can maneuver them around knobs and handles super easily. But here is where I genuinely struggle with the technique being suggested.
The fluffing.
Yes, the fluffing. The masterclass puts this huge emphasis on fluffing the Swiffer. You pull it out of the box, and it's this compressed, flat little pancake.
Right, it's totally flat.
And they insist you have to spin it rapidly and smack it against your hand before you use it.
Right.
I look at that and think, why? It's the same material, whether it's flat or fluffy, right?
Well, actually...
Am I really altering the cleaning power by hitting it against my hand? Or is this just like a placebo ritual to make me feel like a pro?
It is absolutely not a placebo. It's actually a really cool manipulation of material science.
Okay, convince me.
Let's look at how those synthetic fibers are engineered. When they are compressed in the packaging, the fibers are packed so densely that they essentially form a solid, flat wall.
Like a piece of felt almost.
Exactly. And if you drag that flat wall across a wood cabinet, you are relying entirely on surface friction. You act like a snowplow.
Okay. I'm just pushing the pile.
Right. You might push a pile of dust from the left side of the cabinet to the right, but you aren't actually capturing it. It just falls off the edge onto the counter.
So the dust is moving, but it's not being eliminated from the environment.
Correct. But when you apply kinetic energy, when you spin it and strike it, you are forcing air between those synthetic filaments.
They're separating them out.
Exactly. You transform a two-dimensional plane into a three-dimensional web. But more importantly, that physical friction of the fibers rubbing against each other and your hand generates a slight electrostatic charge.
Oh, so it becomes magnetic, basically.
Yes. Now, instead of a snowplow, you have created a charged, porous sponge. The sheer volume of surface area increases exponentially.
That's wild.
So as you pass this fluffed web over the wood, the dust particles are pulled deep into the fibers and locked there by the electrostatic charge. They don't fall off the edges, they're trapped.
So you are literally activating the tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's the difference between sweeping dirt with the wooden handle of a broom versus the actual bristles.
That is a brilliant way to conceptualize it, yeah. And you absolutely must capture that dry dust.
Because if we don't, we hit the wet dust catastrophe.
Exactly. Leaving it on the cabinet and hitting it with a wet spray causes a severe chemical and physical reaction.
What's fascinating here is how the source explains the composition of household dust, right? Because dust is not just inert dirt from outside.
No, not at all. In a typical home, it is a complex matrix. We're talking shed human skin cells, keratin-rich pet hair, aerosolized cooking oils, and textile fibers.
Gross. It's basically an organic cocktail just sitting on the wood.
Yes, it's very biological. And when you introduce water to that specific organic cocktail, the water acts as a binding agent.
Like glue.
Pretty much. The proteins in the skin cells and the cuticles of the pet hair actually swell and interlock. The aerosolized oils emulsify slightly and, yeah, act just like glue.
So that light, fluffy dust you could have blown away with a single breath.
Transforms into a non-Newtonian fluid. It becomes a dense, sticky, cement-like paste.
Oh, man. This paints such a vivid nightmare picture for me. Because I have lived this exact scenario.
Oh, we all have.
You see some dog hair on the base of the cabinet, you spray your all-purpose cleaner directly onto it,
Yeah.
and you wipe. And instead of the hair coming off into the towel
just drags it.
It drags it across the wood, leaving these thick, wet, gray streaks plastered to the finish. And the harder you push, the more it smears.
Just infuriating.
It really is.
Yeah.
You end up having to use your fingernail through the towel to scrape this wet cement off the wood.
And every single time you scrape like that, you degrade the clear coat protecting the wood stain.
Which is exactly what we're trying to avoid.
Right. So by implementing a meticulous dry run with an activated fluff duster, you remove that organic matter before the binding agent of water is ever introduced.
You ensure that when you finally begin the wet wash, your cleaning solution is only interacting with the bonded surface grime, not fighting through a thick layer of wet pet dander.
Exactly. It clears the stage for the chemistry to actually work.
But let's push this into the difficult terrain for a second. Flat, shaker-style cabinets are one thing. But a lot of people have highly ornate
Yeah,
cabinetry.
yeah, the intricate stuff.
Crown molding with deep recesses, beadboard, corbels, intricate trim. A Swiffer, even a perfectly fluffed one, cannot penetrate a sharp 90-degree interior corner.
No, it just bridges the gap. It'll skip right over the corner.
For those deep architectural crevices, the Source introduces a completely different strategy, putting down the duster entirely and bringing in the vacuum cleaner.
But specifically with the soft dusting brush attachment, that is key.
This is a vital escalation for complex geometry. The bristles of a vacuum attachment function differently than a static duster, right?
Right, they provide active mechanical agitation. When you push those bristles into a deep groove, they physically dislodge the packed-in dust.
While the negative pressure of the vacuum immediately extracts it from the room entirely.
It just sucks it right out. But the word soft has to be capitalized, bolded, and underlined here.
Absolutely. Because I've seen people try to use the hard plastic crevice tool.
Yeah.
You know, the one you use between your car seats on their wood furniture.
Using a hard plastic nozzle on finished wood is catastrophic. Just a terrible idea.
It sounds like nails on a chalkboard just thinking about it.
Cabinet finishes, especially modern clear coats, have a very specific hardness rating. Hard plastic scraping violently against the grain, especially if there's a tiny piece of hard particulate trapped under the plastic, will gouge the finish instantly.
You're just engraving scratches into your doors.
Basically, yeah. So the soft horsehair or synthetic bristle attachments act as a buffer. They bend and flex, absorbing the pressure while still agitating the dust.
It is a highly controlled, safe extraction method for the most vulnerable parts of your kitchen's architecture.
Exactly. You get the dust out without risking the finish.
Okay, so we have respected gravity. We've utilized electrostatic webs. We've vacuumed the crevices. The canvas is completely blank, dry, and prepped.
Now the fun begins.
Yes. Now we finally transition to the chemistry of the clean. It is time to mix our solution. And the masterclass gives a very traditional specific recommendation here. Murphy oil soap.
Murphy oil soap is a staple in wood care for a very scientific reason.
It's not just nostalgia.
No, not at all. Unlike harsh solvent-based degreasers that just strip everything they touch, Murphy oil is formulated primarily from plant-based surfactants.
Okay, so what does that mean for the wood?
It means it is designed to emulsify household grease and lift it away from the surface without penetrating and destroying the natural lipids that keep the wood itself healthy and flexible.
So it's a sympathetic cleaner.
Yes, exactly. However, the formulation of the mixture, the ratio, is where the vast majority of homeowners completely sabotage their own efforts.
Okay, I am going to confess to a massive character flaw right here.
Uh-oh.
I suffer terribly from the more is better delusion.
You and everyone else.
When I look at my kitchen, I don't just want it clean. I want it to be an aggressive sensory experience of cleanliness. I want the air to smell like a pine forest.
You want to feel the clean.
Right. So when the bottle says to use a little bit, my brain immediately counters with, well, if a little bit cuts through light grease, then a giant, heavy 4-second pour is going to totally obliterate the bacon grease I've been ignoring for a month.
You want maximum chemical power.
I do. I just dump it in.
That instinct is universal, and it is the exact reason why people find themselves trapped in a cycle of constantly dirty cabinets. You absolutely must resist that urge.
Because Murphy oil is super concentrated, right?
Incredibly dense and highly concentrated. The masterclass dictates a ratio that we must adhere to with, like laboratory precision. Exactly 1 gallon of warm water to only 1 single capful of the oil.
1 capful. I mean, that is maybe a teaspoon and a half. In an entire gallon of water, it feels microscopic.
I know it feels wrong.
It barely even changes the color of the water. How can that possibly possess enough chemical energy to break down kitchen grease?
It possesses the exact correct amount of chemical energy. Let's explore the severe long-term consequences of your heavy pour method.
Okay, hit me with the science.
When you over-concentrate the solution, let's say you use 5 capfuls instead of 1, you mop it onto the wood. The water in that solution eventually evaporates into the air. But the excessive oil
Stays behind.
It does not evaporate. It remains behind on the surface of your cabinet door, forming a microscopic, highly viscous film. We refer to this phenomenon as the sticky trap effect.
The sticky trap. That sounds like a horror movie for a kitchen.
It functions exactly like one. Picture a thin layer of wet syrup painted across your beautiful oak doors. Ugh, gross.
Right. It might look shiny for the first day, but that heavy residue remains permanently tacky. So tomorrow, when you boil pasta, the steam carries microscopic food particles into the air, and they hit that tacky surface and stick.
Oh, no.
When your dog shakes, the dander sticks. When you sweep the floor, the disturbed dust rises and sticks.
So by trying to achieve maximum power today, I have quite literally manufactured a giant sheet of flypaper on my cabinets.
Precisely. Your cabinets will look visibly darker, grimier, and actually feel sticky to the touch within a week. Less cleaner doesn't just mean a safer clean. It is literally the only way to prevent accelerated resoiling.
Okay, I get it now. So if I use 1 capful, the water evaporates and the tiny amount of surfactant left behind is easily managed. If I use 5 capfuls, I'm just paving the road with fresh glue.
Exactly. You're making your next cleaning job 10 times harder.
Okay, I accept the chemistry. 1 capful it is.
But I am still going to fight you on the delivery mechanism.
Let me guess. Spray bottles.
Yes, because I am a child of the modern era and I love convenience, when I clean my windows, I spray. When I clean my counters, I spray.
It's habit.
It is. So I see this rule about mixing 1-gallon bucket, and I immediately want to cheat the system. Why can't I just put my perfectly measured 1 capful of Murphy oil into a large spray bottle, fill it with warm water, and quickly miss my way around the kitchen?
Because it means you have to fundamentally reevaluate how wood reacts to liquid. The bucket system is not a suggestion. It is a structural necessity for the longevity of your cabinetry.
But why spraying so bad?
Let's analyze the fluid dynamics of a spray bottle. When you pull that trigger, you are aerosolizing the liquid into thousands of droplets. You have absolutely zero control over the saturation level on the surface.
You're just blasting it.
Yes, you are forcing the wood to endure a localized flood.
But wait, I wipe it right off. It's only on there for a few seconds.
A few seconds is all it takes for capillary action to begin.
Capillary action.
Yeah, think about it. Wood cabinets are not seamless blocks of plastic. They have joints where the stiles and rails meet. They have routed edges for the center panels. They have microscopic gaps around the hinges.
Right, there are seams everywhere.
And when you spray, those liquid droplets inevitably run down the face of the cabinet due to gravity, and they pool in those unsealed microscopic crevices.
And water always finds the path of least resistance.
Always. Once the water wicks into those unsealed joints, the wood fibers absorb it like a sponge and begin to swell. The finish on the outside of the wood cracks as the wood underneath expands.
So it destroys it from the inside out.
Exactly. Eventually, the joints separate, the paint chips, and the structural integrity of the door is permanently compromised. A spray bottle applies water directly to the vulnerable surface.
Whereas the bucket system keeps the water contained.
Exactly. The bucket system dictates that the water remains in the bucket. You use a towel as a transport medium. You bring a controlled, damp material to the wood, ensuring that liquid never has the volume or the opportunity to pool, run, or seep into the joinery.
Wow. I have absolutely seen that exact damage, especially on the cabinet doors right below the kitchen sink, where water drips down from people's hands.
Yes, that's a classic example.
The top edge of that sink door gets swollen, the paint flakes off, and it just looks ruined.
Yeah.
And you're saying a spray bottle mimics that exact drip damage everywhere in the kitchen.
Precisely. You are artificially simulating water damage on every single door.
All right. The spray bottle is officially banned. I am converted.
Good to hear.
We have our gallon bucket perfectly mixed with 1 capful. But there is a massive caveat that comes with the bucket system from the source. A rule that requires, like, a lot of discipline. The clean water mandate.
Oh, this is where most people fail.
Because human nature says, I made my bucket, I carried it over here, now I'm going to clean the entire kitchen until this bucket is empty.
And that is the fastest way to redistribute grease from one side of your house to the other.
You smear it around.
You must be hyper-vigilant about the state of the water in your bucket. As you clean, your towel is lifting oils, food particles, and dirt. When you rinse that towel in the bucket, those contaminants are transferred right into the water.
So the water gets dirty really fast.
Very fast. The moment you look down and see the water shift from slightly cloudy to a murky brownish-gray hue, or worse, the moment you see physical particulate floating on the surface.
That solution is dead?
Completely dead.
Because if I dip my clean towel back into that murky gray water, I'm not absorbing cleaning solution anymore. I'm absorbing a diluted grease soup.
Exactly. The surfactants in the Murphy oil have bound to the grease in the bucket. They are occupied. They can't clean anymore.
So if you wring that towel out and take it to the next cabinet door,
you are literally painting a thin, even layer of dirty water back onto the wood. You are creating a uniform film of grime.
that defeats the whole purpose of cleaning.
It does. You must stop, dump the bucket down the drain, rinse the bucket itself to remove any grease clinging to the plastic, and mix a fresh 1-capful batch.
It slows you down, yes, but it guarantees that dirt is actually being extracted and eliminated, not merely relocated.
It's a masterclass in discipline.
It really is. Okay, so we have our pristine bucket we've dusted. Now we reach the absolute core of the operation, the technique that separates the amateurs from the professionals.
The main event.
The source material outlines an incredibly specific blueprint for streak-free wood. The three-towel system. And this isn't just about grabbing random rags from the garage. It is a highly choreographed, layered approach.
It is an engineered sequence. Each towel serves a distinct physical and chemical purpose. And the material of the towels is absolutely critical.
Before we even begin the sequence, we have to address the fabric. The source strongly advocates for high-quality microfiber towels, specifically mentioning resources like cleanup.com.
Yes, the material makes all the difference.
Let's talk about that, because for years, my cleaning rag of choice was just an old retired cotton t-shirt. I thought I was upcycling, I was being green.
A lot of people do that, but it's actually counterproductive.
Why is an old cotton shirt so vastly inferior to microfiber for this specific task?
It all comes down to the microscopic structure of the textile. Cotton fibers are relatively smooth, cylindrical tubes.
Like tiny little hoses.
Basically. So when you wipe a greasy surface with a wet cotton t-shirt, the smooth fibers simply push the grease around. They smear it.
Ah, the snowplow effect again.
Exactly. Microfiber, on the other hand, is usually a synthetic blend of polyester and polyamide. And during the manufacturing process, the fibers are split.
Split how?
Well, if you look at a cross-section of a microfiber thread under a microscope, it looks like an asterisk. It has deep channels and sharp edges.
Oh, wow. So instead of a smooth tube rolling over the dirt, it's like a microscopic claw.
Precisely. Those millions of microscopic channels act like a capillary network. They physically scoop up the grease, dirt, and moisture and draw it deep into the center of the towel, trapping it there.
It captures the soil rather than plowing it. That is brilliant.
That is exactly why microfiber is the mandatory tool for this three-step sequence.
Okay, let's execute the sequence. Towel 1, the controlled wash. We take our first microfiber towel, we dip it into our perfectly mixed Murphy oil solution.
And then the most important part.
Right. The most critical action here isn't the wiping, it's the wringing. The masterclass stresses that you must wring this towel out with absolute maximum force.
Yes. Your goal is to achieve a state of being merely damp, not wet. If you squeeze the towel and a single drop of water falls from it, it is too wet for wood.
Because of the capillary action we talked about.
Exactly. The moisture in towel 1 is strictly a vehicle. It is simply there to deliver the microscopic amount of Murphy oil to the surface to break the chemical bond of the grime.
Any excess water will immediately seek out the joints and begin the swelling process.
Right. And as you are using this perfectly damp towel 1, there's another crucial rule.
Ah, yes. The source highlights a major psychological and practical strategy here. You execute this entire three-towel process on one single cabinet door at a time.
That segmentation is critical.
You complete the full cycle before moving horizontally to the next door.
Think about what happens if you don't. If you were to take towel 1 and wash all the upper cabinets in the entire kitchen at once, by the time you return to the first cabinet to rinse it, the cleaning solution would have dried.
Oh, right. The grease would have rebonded to the surface.
Exactly. By isolating your focus to one door, you maintain total control over the chemical reaction time.
Which perfectly sets up towel 2, the rinse. We drop towel 1, we grab a fresh second microfiber towel. This one is dipped only in clean, warm water.
No soap, no oil.
Right. And again, wrung out until your forearms literally ache. Now, here is where my initial intuition rebelled.
I know. This raises an important question for a lot of people. Why expend the energy to rinse away a cleaner that is aggressively marketed specifically as a wood cleaner?
Exactly. The entire brand identity of Murphy oil is that it is good for wood. It feels counterintuitive, almost insulting, to immediately wash it off.
I get it. But it is vital to understand what that cleaner has actually achieved in the last 30 seconds. Towel 1 applied the surfactants.
The chemical crowbars.
Right. Those surfactant molecules have surrounded the grease particles, lifting them away from the wood finish and suspending them in a microscopic layer of moisture.
So it's essentially a floating microscopic soup of dirt right on your cabinet door.
Yes. They are trapped in little chemical cages called micelles, but they are still physically sitting on the door.
So if you simply walk away and let that moisture evaporate.
Those little cages break down and the grease drops right back onto the wood finish, but now it's mixed with the residual Murphy oil, creating our dreaded sticky track.
Oh, that makes so much sense. So towel 2, the clean water rinse, is the mechanical extraction phase.
Exactly. The damp, pure water in those microfiber asterisk hooks physically grabs those suspended dirt cages and the leftover soap, pulling them off the cabinet entirely.
It leaves nothing but the bare, clean finish. Wash to loosen, rinse to extract.
Beautifully said. But we aren't done.
No, we aren't. And here's where it gets really interesting, because if I made it through towel 1 and towel 2, my brain says, job well done, time for a coffee.
Naturally. You feel like you finished the job.
But the source reveals that the final step, towel 3, the completely dry microfiber towel, is the actual secret to the entire operation. This is the step 95% of people skip.
And it is exactly why their cabinets never look professionally cleaned. Skipping towel 3 is basically snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
So what does it do?
Towel 3 is the secret sauce buff, and it serves a massive dual purpose. First, it is your ultimate insurance policy against the inherent vulnerability of wood.
Because even after wringing out towel 2 intensely, there is still a microscopic layer of moisture on the door.
Right, and towel 3 instantly evacuates that remaining water, guaranteeing that zero moisture has the time to seep into the joinery.
It's an immediate forced drying process.
Yes, and secondly, the dry buff is the only way to prevent the visual nightmare of watermarks and streaks.
Ah, the streaks, they drive me crazy.
Because unless you are cleaning with laboratory-grade distilled water, your tap water contains microscopic dissolved minerals. Calcium, magnesium, iron. Hard water stuff. Exactly. If you allow the water from towel 2 to air dry naturally on the dark wood of your cabinet, the water evaporates, but those minerals are left behind as a crystalline residue.
And that is what causes that cloudy, dull, grayish streak when the afternoon sunlight hits the cabinet. It's not grease, it's tiny rocks.
Precisely. It is a mineral deposit. Towel 3 physically absorbs the water and the dissolved minerals before they even have a chance to crystallize on the surface.
That is so smart.
Furthermore, the friction of the dry microfiber acts as a mild polish, leveling up the entire look of the clear coat. It transforms a matte, streaky finish into a smooth, uniform, professional gleam.
Wash, rinse, buff. One cabinet at a time. It is an unbeatable cadence.
It really is the gold standard.
You know, talking about this deep layered extraction of dirt, utilizing these tiny hook-like fibers to trap the grime so it doesn't just spread around.
Yeah.
It strongly reminds me of another surface in our homes that suffers from the exact same problem.
Oh, absolutely. The floors.
Yes. We spend all this time getting our cabinets to a state of absolute perfection. We look down and realize our carpets are holding on to years of invisible, suspended dirt that our standard vacuums just can't extract.
Vacuums just scratch the surface.
Exactly. If your kitchen cabinets are gleaming, you shouldn't neglect the massive textile filter right under your feet. So I want to enthusiastically encourage you to take a moment today and visit Kindeke Carpet Cleaning on Google.
Highly recommend checking them out.
They bring this exact same level of scientific, methodical, deep cleaning magic to your floors. You wouldn't leave a sticky trap on your wood. Don't leave one in your carpets. Just search Kindeke Carpet Cleaning on Google to elevate the health and cleanliness of your entire home.
A truly clean environment really has to be holistic. The floors are just as critical as the surfaces.
Absolutely. Okay, so we are back in the kitchen. We have mastered the 3-towel sequence. It is working flawlessly on the pantry doors, the island, the lower drawers. You are feeling like a wood restoration professional.
You're in the groove.
But then, the music changes. The lighting gets dark. You step to the right, and you arrive at the escalation protocol.
Ah, yes. The danger zone.
Because in every single kitchen on planet Earth, there is one zone where the standard rules do not apply.
The epicenter of grime. The cabinet directly above the oven and the hood range.
It is the universal final boss of the kitchen. You take your beautifully prepared, perfectly wrung out towel 1, you press it against the wood above the stove, and it just skates.
This glides right over.
Glides right over the surface with zero friction. The Murphy oil does absolutely nothing. The surface is coated in this yellowish, impenetrable, snicky armor.
It's a completely different substance up there.
What exactly is happening chemically above our stoves that makes this grease so impossibly stubborn?
Well, what you are encountering is not standard liquid grease anymore. You are literally fighting a polymer.
A polymer.
Right.
Plastic.
Exactly. When you cook, say, searing a steak or frying bacon, microscopic droplets of triglycerides or fats are carried up into the air via steam and thermal updrafts.
And they land on the cabinet face.
Yes, initially it's just standard grease, but the environment directly above your stove is constantly subjected to massive fluctuations in heat. Every single time you turn on a burner, you are essentially baking that microscopic layer of grease.
Oh, gross.
The heat causes the fatty acid chains in the oil to oxidize and cross-link with one another. This chemical reaction is called polymerization.
So the liquid oil actually transforms into a hard, plastic-like resin.
Yes. So you are essentially trying to wipe away a layer of baked-on plastic. No wonder a soft microfiber towel just slides right off.
We need a structural tool upgrade.
We absolutely do.
The source material specifically commands us to put the soft towels aside for this zone and bring in the Scrub Mommy.
This is a highly calculated escalation, and the distinction between the Scrub Mommy and the traditional Scrub Daddy is paramount for protecting the wood finish.
Let's dissect that, because to the untrained eye, a smiling sponge is just a smiling sponge. But the Scrub Mommy is dual-sided, right?
Correct. It has the standard, stiff, flex texture scrubbing face, but the entire back half is a soft, highly flexible foam.
To me, it functions like a contour-hugging shock absorber. If you press a stiff, rigid sponge against a complex cabinet molding, you only make contact with the highest points.
You bridge the gaps again, just like the quiver.
Exactly. But with the foam backing, you can press it into the complex trim, and the foam compresses. It allows the abrasive side to perfectly mold into every nook, cranny, and routed edge without losing its structural integrity.
That adaptability allows for uniform pressure across uneven topography. It's brilliant. But there is an absolute strict rule, a danger zone that the masterclass highlights called the temperature trick.
Okay, what is the temperature trick?
The flex texture material of these sponges is highly reactive to thermal changes. Whenever you use a flex texture sponge on finished wood, you must immerse it in warm water first.
Because if you run it under cold water, that polymer material becomes rigid.
Right, it turns into a pumice stone.
Ouch. So if you take a cold, rock-hard flex texture sponge and scrub vigorously against a polymerized grease stain on a wood cabinet,
you will undoubtedly breach the clear coat. You will leave thousands of micro scratches, permanently clouding the finish.
So the warm water is a safety mechanism.
Exactly. By submerging it in warm water, the polymer matrix of the sponge softens. It remains abrasive enough to create the mechanical friction needed to agitate the plasticized grease, but it yields just enough to become completely non-scratching on the delicate wood underneath.
You are maximizing agitation while neutralizing the threat of damage. It's aggressive but safe.
Exactly.
And for those truly impossible spaces, the sharp 90-degree interior corners on shaker cabinets where the flat panel meets the frame, where even a softened Scrub Mommy can't quite compress enough, the Masterclass host introduces a brilliant low-tech surgical tool.
The old toothbrush.
An old toothbrush. It is the ultimate precision instrument.
It really is. The bristles of a toothbrush are firm enough to dig the hardened, polymerized grease out of a tight seam, but the surface area is so small that you aren't applying unnecessary damaging friction to the surrounding flat wood.
It isolates the aggression right where you need it.
Yes. But sometimes mechanical friction just isn't enough.
Right, you have your warm Scrub Mommy, you have your toothbrush, but the Murphy oil is still just bouncing off the grease. The polymerization is too thick.
This is where the source authorizes the final chemical escalation.
The heavy hitter. Basic Original Blue Dawn dish soap. You bypass the bucket entirely, apply a single drop of Dawn directly to the warm Scrub Mommy, and let the soap attack the polymer.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Dawn dish soap is a marvel of modern chemical engineering.
It really is legendary for grease.
It is formulated specifically to destroy complex, heavy, baked-on animal fats and synthetic greases. It contains highly concentrated synthetic surfactants.
How are they different from the Murphy oil surfactants?
Well, these molecules have a hydrophilic head that loves water and a hydrophobic tail that desperately wants to avoid water and attach to grease.
So they act like tiny chemical crowbars.
Exactly. The hydrophobic tails stab directly into the polymerized grease, breaking the cross-link bonds, while the hydrophilic heads pull the fragmented grease molecules into the water in the sponge.
That is amazing.
It works with terrifying efficiency. You don't even need to scrub forcefully. You just apply the lather, give it a moment to chemically react, and the grease structure simply collapses.
That sounds like a total miracle cure, which of course immediately leads my more is better brain to a very dangerous conclusion.
I can see the gears turning.
Right. Here is the massive warning label we have to attach to this. If Dawn is this powerful, and if my whole kitchen has at least a microscopic layer of grease on it, why am I messing around with Murphy oil at all?
Because it's too strong.
Exactly. Why not just squirt a bunch of Blue Dawn into my gallon bucket and use the 3-towel system with a Dawn solution for the entire kitchen?
The risk of overuse is severe here, and it goes right back to our foundational understanding of wood as a biological material.
Okay, remind me.
Natural wood, even when finished, relies on a delicate balance of internal lipids and essential oils to remain flexible, rich in color, and structurally sound. Dawn dish soap is an indiscriminate, ruthless degreaser.
It doesn't care what kind of oil it's destroying.
Right. It does not possess the chemical intelligence to distinguish between the baked-on bacon fat on the surface and the essential natural oils residing within the cellular structure of the wood itself.
Oh, wow. So the chemical crowbars just keep digging. They strip the surface grease, and then they start sucking the life out of the wood underneath.
Yes. The process is a form of accelerated dehydration. If you use Dawn as your primary cleaner, over time, the wood will literally dry out from the inside.
That sounds permanent.
It is. The deep, rich color will fade to a chalky, dull hue. The finish, lacking flexibility, will begin to microfracture and flake off. In extreme cases, the wood fibers themselves will become brittle, warp, and crack.
So Dawn is a surgical scalpel in this context.
It must be reserved strictly for the hood range grease, the absolute worst-case scenario, applied sparingly, and then crucially immediately rinsed away thoroughly with your clean water towel.
Got it. Although the source does make one fantastic caveat that might save some listeners a lot of stress.
Yes, the painted cabinets exception.
Right. If you have painted cabinets, meaning they are not stained, natural wood, but rather constructed from MDF or wood that has been entirely encapsulated in a hard, factory-baked enamel paint, finish the rule shift.
Those hard enamel paints handle Dawn beautifully.
Because there is no exposed natural wood pore, so there are no essential oils to strip. You can use Dawn much more liberally on a painted kitchen.
That's right. But for our natural stained wood cabinets, Dawn is the emergency glass we break only for the final boss.
Precisely. Respect the material you are working with. Neutralize the extreme threat and retreat immediately back to the safety of the Murphy oil emulsion.
That's the golden rule.
Okay, we have waged war and we have won the exterior. The cabinet faces are gleaming, the sticky traps are dissolved, the polymerized final boss above the stove is vanquished.
It looks amazing.
It does. But we cannot rest yet. We have to look beyond the surface. We have to tackle the hidden world, the insides of the cabinets, the chaotic drawers, and the forgotten heights.
This is where mental endurance really comes into play.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me just say, simply thinking about cleaning the inside of the cabinets triggers an immediate, visceral wave of exhaustion and overwhelm in me.
It is arguably the most psychologically taxing phase of the entire restoration process.
Without a doubt.
And the strategy outlined in the masterclass here is focused purely on psychological preservation as much as it is physical cleaning. The host gives an incredibly stern warning, clearly born from painful personal experience.
Yes, you must aggressively enforce the one cabinet at a time rule.
Because the temptation is huge to just do it all.
Oh, totally. You get that initial burst of cleaning adrenaline, right?
Yeah.
You stand in the middle of the kitchen, yell, "We are deep cleaning today." Parts throw open every single door and start ripping every plate, every novelty mug, every half-empty box of pasta, and every expired bag of flour out onto the counters all at once.
And within 10 minutes, the adrenaline crashes, and you have manufactured a chaotic, unmanageable catastrophe.
You literally trap yourself in the mess.
We refer to this in cognitive psychology as a spike in visual clutter, which directly correlates to a spike in cortisol, the stress hormone.
It's physical stress.
By emptying everything, you obliterate every square inch of functional counter space. You suddenly have nowhere to place your water bucket, nowhere to lay your clean towels.
The sheer visual weight of your entire kitchen's inventory sitting out in the open triggers the amygdala.
It's the tornado effect. You look around and think, I have ruined my house.
Yes, the task feels infinitely larger than when you started. It's the exact reason people give up halfway through, sit on the floor, and just order a pizza amidst the ruins of their Tupperware.
Exactly. It induces total cognitive paralysis.
So how do we avoid it?
By enforcing strict isolation, one cabinet at a time. You maintain your psychological safety net. You open a single door. You remove 12 coffee mugs to a small section of the counter.
Just 12 mugs. Very manageable.
Right. You dust the interior shelf. You apply the 3-towel Murphy oil system. You buff it dry. and you put the 12 mugs back, the door closes.
You have achieved a micro-victory.
Yes. And the brain gets a hit of dopamine, reinforcing your motivation to tackle the next door.
And as we are pulling those items out for that micro-victory, the source emphasizes that we are presented with a golden fleeting opportunity, the purge and organize phase.
Oh, this is the best part.
Because let's be honest, how often do you actually interact with the back corner of the top shelf?
Rarely, if ever. That space becomes a museum of deferred decisions.
That is so true. So as you take the item out to clean the wood beneath it, force a decision right then and there. Look at what you are holding in your hand.
Is it useful?
Right. Is this the novelty oversized mug you got at a corporate retreat 5 years ago that doesn't even fit under your coffee maker? If yes, do not put it back. Put it directly into a donation box at your feet.
You will inevitably find absolute trash in there, too.
Oh, for sure. A random bread tie, a cracked lid to a glass container that shattered in 2022. Throw it away.
Yeah.
You'll find the garlic press that somehow migrated from the prep drawer into the baking cabinet. Relocate it.
You are deep cleaning the wood, yes, but you are also fundamentally resetting the logic and functionality of your kitchen.
You are actively optimizing the environment while you sanitize it. You are removing friction from your daily cooking routine.
It pays dividends every single day afterward.
It really does. Now, when we transition to the drawers, the potential for overwhelming visual clutter multiplies rapidly. Drawers are notorious catch-alls.
Oh, the junk drawer. It is a universal phenomenon.
The junk drawer is a terrifying ecosystem.
Yeah.
But the source offers a brilliant containment strategy that completely neutralizes the threat here. The plastic tote drawer hack.
I love this hack so much.
It's so good. Instead of opening a drawer and meticulously taking out 50 tiny individual items, batteries, loose screws, rubber bands, dried out pens, and scattering them across your clean counter.
Which is just a recipe for losing things.
Exactly. You utilize a separate container. You get a medium-sized plastic tote bin. You pull the drawer out of its tracks entirely, and you literally just dump the contents of the drawer upside down directly into the tote.
It is highly efficient. It instantly keeps your workstation perfectly tidy, self-contained, and mobile.
And then, for the dry dusting phase of the drawer interior itself, the host explicitly pivots away from the Swiffer duster. We return to the vacuum with the soft brush attachment.
Yes, because a drawer is essentially a shallow wooden bucket.
Right. If you use a Swiffer, you are just pushing the dried breadcrumbs and dust into the tight right angles of the corners. The Swiffer can't lift them out of the box.
The vacuum's negative pressure instantly lifts the debris completely out of the contained space.
Once the crumbs are evacuated, you execute the exact same 3-towel Murphy oil system inside the drawer. The controlled wash, the rinse, the dry buff, the wood is pristine.
And then the fun part.
Yes. Then you sort through your plastic tote, purge the dried out pens, and put the valuable items back into a perfect space.
It is a flawless, repeatable system. But even after the interior is conquered, there is one final frontier remaining.
The most treacherous zone of all.
The summit.
The tops of the cabinets. That 6-inch void between the top edge of the upper cabinets and the ceiling. The most neglected, out-of-sight, out-of-mind space in the entire architectural footprint of a home.
And consequently, the most heavily soiled surface you will encounter anywhere.
It's just a wasteland up there.
We spoke earlier about thermal updrafts carrying microscopic droplets of grease. Hot air naturally rises. Those aerosolized lipids hit the ceiling, cool and gently fall, settling evenly across the vast, flat expanse of the cabinet tops.
And then the dust joins the party.
Exactly. Simultaneously, the HVAC system circulates airborne household dust, which settles directly on top of the fresh grease. This process repeats daily for years, creating a thick, incredibly stubborn geological matrix of polymerized grease and impacted dirt.
Up here, the standard Murphy oil and soft towel aren't going to make a dent. The source notes that you might have to skip the gentle approach entirely.
You arrive at the summit with the warmed Scrub Mommy and the Dawn dish soap right off the bat, just to break through that prehistoric layer of kitchen history.
It is a physically demanding, exhausting zone to restore. You are often balancing on a ladder, reaching awkwardly, and scrubbing with immense force.
Which makes the preventative intervention the host shares so incredibly valuable. It is, without a doubt, the ultimate pro tip.
This hack completely blew my mind because it is so magnificently lazy, yet so fundamentally genius.
Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. You spend an hour sweating on a ladder, scrubbing the tops of those cabinets until the wood is flawless. You execute your dry buff, and then you never look at them again.
Because you cover them up.
Yes. You take sheets of inexpensive parchment paper or old newspapers or even overlapping layers of thick paper towels, and you lay them flat, edge to edge, completely covering the top surface of the cabinets.
You are installing a sacrificial layer.
Exactly. Gravity and convection currents aren't going to stop. The grease and the dust are going to continue to fall from the ceiling over the next 12 months. But now, they settle on the disposable paper, not on the finished wood.
It's so elegant.
So next spring, when you do your annual deep clean, you don't bring up the bucket, the Dawn, or the scrub mommy. You simply climb the step stool, gently fold up the greasy, dusty parchment paper to trap the dirt inside, throw it in the trash, and lay down fresh sheets.
It takes 90 seconds. You have literally engineered a system that eliminates the need to ever scrub the top of your cabinets again.
It is brilliant environmental engineering. You are accurately anticipating the inevitable entropic mess and neutralizing it before it ever makes physical contact with the vulnerable surface.
It's my favorite takeaway from the whole masterclass.
But let's be real for a moment. Let's look at the totality of what we have just accomplished.
It's a lot.
By the time you have mapped the gravity of the dry dust, fluffed the Swiffer to create an electrostatic charge, meticulously vacuumed the intricate molding, mixed the mathematically perfect one-capful Murphy oil solution,
Executed the rigorous 3-towel system across 20 different doors without letting the water ruin the joints,
defeated the polymerized final boss above the stove with Dawn, managed the cortisol spike of emptying the drawers into plastic totes, and laid parchment paper on the summit. Your glycogen stores are empty. You are physically exhausted.
You have put in a massive, highly physical day of deep home maintenance. Your energy reserves are completely depleted, and decision fatigue has well and truly set in.
And the absolute last thing a human being wants to think about when they finally look around their perfectly gleaming, lemon-scented, meticulously organized kitchen is, okay, now I have to get in the car, drive to the crowded grocery store, wander the aisles, come back, chop a bunch of raw onions, splatter oil everywhere, and instantly mess up this beautiful space I just spent 6 hours restoring.
It's demoralizing. It feels like a punishment for cleaning.
It is the ultimate paradox of kitchen maintenance. The moment it is perfect is the moment you refuse to use it.
Which is why the host of the source material shares a highly relatable, incredibly practical solution for the end of this day, utilizing HelloFresh.
And I completely see the massive psychological appeal here. When you're exhausted, HelloFresh means you are completely outsourcing the cognitive load. You avoid the grocery store entirely. The pre-portioned ingredients show up right at your doorstep in a box.
The convenience is paramount, but from a practical standpoint, it is also about the vast variety and the speed of execution.
Right, because nobody wants a boring meal after a day like that.
Exactly. The source highlights that unlike older rigid meal kits that maybe forced you into a handful of repetitive options, HelloFresh offers an evolving menu of over 100 recipes.
That kind of extensive variety guarantees that even a household balancing complex, diverse dietary preferences, or stubbornly picky eaters can instantly find a meal that satisfies everyone without an argument.
And the flexibility is key. You can pause deliveries on weeks you aren't deep cleaning, you can swap proteins around.
But the absolute best part, the true reward after this intense, multi-hour kitchen scrub down, is that the vast majority of these meals are intelligently designed to be prepped and ready in under 30 minutes.
It is an incredibly efficient use of remaining energy.
It's faster than sitting on the couch arguing for 45 minutes about what to order for takeout delivery, and you still get to provide a hot, real meal.
But the mental load of meal planning and the physical load of shopping have been completely eliminated from the equation.
It is the perfect capstone to a day of intense physical labor. You get to inhabit and enjoy your pristine kitchen without immediately destroying it with a massive, chaotic, multi-pot meal prep.
It perfectly aligns with the overarching theme of the day, honestly. Working smarter, relying on meticulously proven systems, and actively reducing unnecessary friction and stress in your environment.
Speaking of the overarching themes, let's zoom out for a second and look at the sheer volume of science and strategy we've covered today.
It's a lot to take in.
From respecting the gravity of dry dust, to understanding the chemistry of the sticky trap, to the extreme discipline required for the 3-towel system, and the chemical warfare against polymerized grease.
I think there is a really profound takeaway here that extends far beyond just the mechanics of household chores.
Oh, what's that?
Think about the fundamental concept of entropy. In physics, entropy is the law that the universe naturally and inevitably moves from a state of order toward a state of chaos and decay.
Wow, getting deep. But it's true.
Dust falls, grease aerosolizes, things degrade. When we allow that visual clutter and grind to accumulate, we feel stressed because we are essentially witnessing entropy winning in our personal spaces.
That makes so much sense.
But when you engage in this highly methodical cleaning process, when you respect the chemistry of the wood, when you isolate the task to one cabinet at a time, and when you engineer preventative measures, like the parchment paper hack, you are doing something remarkable.
You are actively rebelling against entropy.
Yes. Cleaning isn't just a mundane task. It is the deliberate creation of a localized micro-universe of order. You are taking control of your environment, asserting structure over chaos, and engineering a physical space that visually and psychologically reinforces clarity, calm, and peace of mind every single time you walk into the room.
That is such a powerful, elevated way to look at it. We aren't just wiping off bacon grease. We're defying the chaos of the universe. We are creating peace.
It's empowering.
It really is. And if you are feeling inspired to extend that hard-won peace and order to every single corner of your home, I want to remind you one last time. To truly elevate your entire home's cleanliness and transform your living space, make sure to visit Kindeke Carpet Cleaning on Google.
Because the floors matter just as much as the cabinets.
You have mastered the complex chemistry of the wood cabinets. Now let the dedicated professionals handle the deep extraction of your floors. Just look up Kindeke Carpet Cleaning on Google to complete the transformation.
It's the perfect finishing touch.
Well, we started this journey by staring at that dull, greasy, shadowy layer on the wood, paralyzed by the fear that we could never fix it without accidentally stripping the finish.
But now we have the tools.
We do. Armed with the physics of the Swiffer fluff, the unwavering discipline of the single capful rule, the micelle extracting rinse, and the mighty dry buff, that massive wall of anxiety is totally gone. The path to a flawless kitchen is clear.
Thank you for listening to the Best Way to Clean Wood Kitchen Cabinets podcast.